When you listen to Jasmine Crockett or an AOC and the way they talk about them, even an Elizabeth Warren to a lesser degree or what have you, the Republicans are having a field day. They plaster them all over the place, especially Mamdani. That's not an order today, just like you pointed. Why? Because they know that even though New York might go for him, America won't. And in a general election, you are going to fall if you are anti-America, if you are anti-capitalism, and you want to embrace extreme leftism and socialism. But they want you scared to say that. You're not scared, and I can assure you I could give less than a damn.
I find in general, the party that is about inclusivity is incredibly elitist.
But it's not. It's not the party. It's not the majority. It's the loud voices that scare people from saying what they believe and make you think twice about a joke or whatever. You know, a lot of their points are valid, but a lot of them are also just repulsive. And I mean, they repel people from, they go like, oh, you're no fun. I don't want to be around you. And I think that if you had to boil it down to like one thing, that's kind of what it is.
Okay, that's Stephen A. Smith warning Democrats will never win if they put up anti-America far-left candidates like Zohran Mamdani, AOC, or Jasmine Crockett. And then that was Jimmy Kimmel calling out the Democrats' quote, repulsive liberal scolding. The Democrat Party in chaos. Stocks again hit record highs. The Democrats' Trump inflation narrative is failing. July inflation came in cooler than expected at 2.7%. Energy prices down, gas prices down, food prices were flat, grocery prices down. Even Biden's economist, Jared Bernstein, said, quote, we're not seeing consumer inflation from Trump's tariffs. Joining us now, we are so happy to have back on the show nationally syndicated radio host Dana Loesch. Dana, always a pleasure. Wonderful to see you again. What do you make of all of what you just heard? What are Democrats going to try to attack Trump for next?
I mean, what haven't they? I mean, if they don't have anything, they'll make it up. I think that that's one of the things that we've seen. And I know we're still waiting for some receipts, you know, just layman's terms, to come in next quarter to see, you know, how the tariffs are affecting the economy and inflation and prices, et cetera. But I'll add this. For so long, part of the reason why we have been pummeled economically, not just because of these policies that Democrats have put forward, is because nobody has had a spine to stand up to some of these other nations and say, hey, we need to level the playing field. Everyone talks about free trade and they talk about a free market, and everyone's expected to make their own rules, but the United States has to bear the consequence of what everyone else chooses. We've not been allowed to have a voice in this, and we finally have politicians in D.C., and we finally have a president that's actually saying something about it, doing something about it with these policies. And I think, you know, he deserves the grace that we should give him some grace to see how this plays out. I'm not a fan of taxes. I'm a pretty big constitutionalist. I know that's what tariffs are. However, I also understand the tactic of leveraging them for a greater outcome. And I wish that some of these other people who were talking about these policies coming from D.C. would see it in the same way. Historically, it's been used as leverage. I know that none of the economists agree on it, but I want to see how this plays out, because ultimately, if we can start onshoring some of our manufacturing, if we can start getting more and more of these companies, Hyundai announced that they're going to be bringing more manufacturing back to the United States, Apple with their chip. I mean, there have been a lot of really big announcements about this just in the past month. I want to see more of that. That's exactly what this tactic was designed to get. And then ultimately, after it served its purpose and the leverage has been used, then we can go back to a little bit more of a better status quo for Americans.
Bam,
so I think that
it.
we owe it to kind of stick it out, you know, to ourselves as well.
The media is focusing on tariffs, right? But not what the president is trying to do to what you point out in reshoring U.S. manufacturing. You know, do you think that, you know, so Trump is standing up to that narrative about how he's trying to reset global trade. That's, the status quo was acceptable for too long, where America was getting hurt. Right. But do you think Democrats are going to start standing up to the far left? Because we got billionaire Mark Cuban. He leans Democrat. Cuban is even roasting lawmakers AOC, Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren. I know we don't like taxes. We get that. He's saying Trump is doing what they always dreamed of, this effective 15% sales tax on NVIDIA and AMD's revenues from high-end chip sales.
Yes. And ultimately, this is what gets me about people like Cuban and others. They're capitalists, really, but they want to be cool and they want to pretend that they're not. So they advocate for business killing policies, but then they'll turn around and yes, actually, this will work. This tactic is going to work and even this out in the long run. So, I mean, I kind of take some of the stuff that he says with a grain of salt with all of this. And I just look to see how this is affecting us when we go to the grocery store and ultimately what we get out of it in the long run.
That's it. Dana Loesch, you're always wonderful. Thanks for taking the time to be with us. Great to see you again.
Good to see you.